What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining me for Real Talk NFT, where we talk about all things NFT and Web3 related. As you know, I'm your host, Brian. You know, my amazing co host, Joe. And we have a really, really special guest here for you today. Fired up for this podcast. We have Jason Brink. He's the president of blockchain of Gala Game. Gala Games is absolute powerhouse in Web3 gaming. So we're fired up to have Jason on. Jason, appreciate you jumping on the podcast today.
Hey, man, thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're definitely interested to learn all about Gala and Gala Games. We know that Gala's been in the crypto industry, in the NFT industry, Web3, whatever tag word you want to call it, for a very, very long time. You guys are like the OG in gaming in my eyes. But before we dive deep and we talk all things about Gala, because that's what the podcast is about today, we'd love to know a little bit about your background, maybe how you got into the Web3 world, your gaming background, all that good stuff.
I'm from gaming. I mean, I've been in gaming my entire life, right? I remember when I got my very first computer. I think I was in third or fourth grade probably, and I had to build it. And I had a 100 megabyte hard drive, and that was the absolute shit at that time. It's just like, this is the best, amazing. So yeah, I've been in gaming for a long time. I got into crypto 2013 or so. Got in crypto into a very in a very academic fashion. Reading about it, but not actually getting super involved. 2014, I decided to get more involved. I submitted a paper to the Global Development Network and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation about how to use crypto to fix foreign aid. Ended up winning an award for that, and spending a few years trying to get that off the ground, trying to use blockchain technology to bring transparency to foreign aid situations and things like that. Got absolutely nowhere because governments and NGOs are the slowest things on the face of the planet and very, very resistant to change and innovation. But I still wanted to find a way to use blockchain to help people, so I got into gaming. And I joined Gala in 2020. I was employee number 8, I think. And if you were to go back, I'm probably I definitely one of the people who's been here the longest. And we've been doing a lot of really, really crazy stuff, and I'm very, very proud of all the progress that we have made.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I mean, geez, you've been in crypto, so you've been through your fair share of bull and bear markets.
Oh, I've been through so many of these things. It's one of those situations where, you sit there on X or Twitter or whatever we call it these days, and you see like, oh, the crazy bull highs, and everyone's like, yay, and you're like, just wait, and then you see everything melting down, and it's like, oh my God, it's all going to zero, get out, and you're like, just wait. I've seen cycle after cycle after cycle, and it's always interesting, and I I love to see the way the industry is slowly beginning to actually mature. And I think that as we come into this next cycle, which I think we're starting to see whispers of right now, I think it's going to be really, really cool because the industry is getting to the point where we can actually do this whole mass adoption thing that we've been wanting to do forever. So it's going to be fun.
Man, you're exactly right about that. I always make a joke. I've been in crypto for a long time, so I wear my battle scars with the best of them. I've lost some money, made some money, and my phone blows up. I know we're in a bull market, and I know when we're in a bear market with just how my phone's reacting. If I look at my phone, I have 40 text messages, and people are asking me if they should buy or they should sell. I could totally know exactly where the
exactly what the sentiment is. Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. I'm sure your phone probably goes off the hook too, because if you've been in since 2013, I think you said, I'm sure friends and family are always like, Jason, is it time to buy Bitcoin now? Is it time to sell Bitcoin now? And you're like, well, that's not exactly your personal financial advisor here.
Exactly. It's good times. I typically know whether we're in a bull or bear market based on the number of death threats I get. It's one of the sad things about running a project is that people look at everything that happens as somehow your personal responsibility. If things are great, then they're like, "Oh my God, you're amazing," and you're like, "Well, hold on, pump the brakes there, big shoots. I'm doing a job and I'm working here." But and if things are bad, then it's like, "Oh, you are terrible. You're the absolute actual worst, and I hope you die," which is less fun. So definitely bull markets more fun than bear markets.
Yeah, in Web3, NFTs, crypto, whatever you want to call it, we're impatient. The companies need
Oh,
years of
horrendously,
development
horrendously.
to build a real product, to build a real game, to do something correctly. And we're just
Hmm.
like 3 months in. I'm like, why isn't this gone up 400x? This meme coin
Yeah,
has. Come on,
this
Gala.
what's wrong with you? No, so I was doing an interview yesterday, and I was talking to somebody about specifically this issue. And it is that this industry for a long time has been a uh, I don't want to say it's very much a hype driven industry. So people are very interested in seeing like the specific thing that is being hyped at this exact moment, but it's not a delivery driven industry, which I find very interesting. And if you're running an actual business like we are, and you have actual developers like we do, and you have actual projects and products like we have, it's kind of interesting because people are like, well, why aren't you hyping things? You should hype. I don't actually want to see the development. I just want you to hype. And it's like, guys, no, we have to actually do this. We can't, you know, it's not fake. Nothing that we do is fake. It just takes time to get there. And now people are finally seeing that, which I think makes me very happy.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And it's I don't know. It's a good time to be in the market right now, I'll tell you that much. With all these ETF
Very much so.
flows and hype around NFTs, and gaming is an absolute meta that Joe and I talk about all the time. With that being said, give us kind of like a 1-inch view. What's Gala Games? What's the entire platform and gaming sector all mean to
Sure.
you?
Sure. So, I mean, Gala is bigger than just gaming. We started off with gaming. We built our L1 based around the requirements of gaming. Gala chain is the L1. And the reason that we did that is we were founded by some of the absolute giants in gaming. Our founder is Eric Schiermeyer, is one of the co-founders of Zynga. Zynga knows what it's like to have a company like or have a product like Farmville, right? With tens of millions of DAU. Okay, all transacting, all making micropayments, all doing these sorts of things. Zynga actually had to get very innovative when it came to just doing the accounting on micropayments. What does it look like if you have 100 million people all spending 99 cents a day on something? How do you keep track of every single button push, right? So we started off saying, okay, well, none of the technical solutions that exist out there in the blockchain world will work for doing that. So let's go ahead and create something new. So that's what we did. It can handle gaming. It can also handle anything else that you want to throw at it. So we are also expanding into film and music, and we've got our Gala chain, our node ecosystem, which is one of the most powerful DePIN infrastructure plays out there right now. I don't know whether, well, most people don't know this, but we represent anywhere from 80 to 85% of all traffic routing on IPFS with their DHT servers. So every Gala founders node is running a DHT server, and we are the majority of that network. So anything that you get off IPFS, when you go look at your Bored Ape picture, and that picture is pinned as a CID somewhere on IPFS, you're touching a dozen Gala nodes to go get that picture. So it's pretty cool. We're doing a lot. From the gaming perspective, we have built what is one of the best products out there for building a game. It's better than pretty much anything else in a lot of different ways. One, it can handle the throughput necessary for gaming without being EVM, which is super important, because nobody wants to actually build on EVM because Solidity is a massive pain in the ass. So we've made it so that you can take a game and you can integrate it very, very simply and very easily to Gala Chain, running your own channel. And as a lot more games are coming to do right now, it's good times.
That's amazing. We just saw the news release with Reflex. We actually had Les on the podcast not too long ago. You guys are
Les is awesome.
Yeah.
He was a wild man. We enjoyed it. He was a wild man.
Absolutely insane. He's absolutely insane in the best way.
Yes.
He's very, very fun. I really like Les. I missed a call from him yesterday. I need to call him back. I was in the middle of a meeting.
Yeah. We love that guy. We can't wait to have him back on. And he talked to us about, how one of his MOs was scanning, individuals, creators like ourselves and putting us in games. And to see that into fruition and partner with you guys, that's very exciting news. Can you talk to us about the gaming industry and inefficiencies overall? Because a lot of people hear about, Web3 gaming's popping up, the reason why and kind of where it's headed, with all this new technology coming out with metaverse, augmented reality and whatnot. How are you guys kind of lighting the candle? Are you doing it all ends? Are you releasing your own games? I know you're partnering. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so there's a few different things that we're doing. I mean, one is in addition to the L1 blockchain, in addition to Gala chain, we do have some of our own titles, and we do definitely want to work with we want to work with anyone who wants to work with us, to be honest. Les and his group of companies and things like that. I've known Les for a few years now, and I'm really delighted to work with him because, again, he is a super agile human being. Mentally, it's fantastic to talk to him because he's one of the few people that runs at the same speed as I do. So we have a lot of fun with that. But in terms of gaming and bringing innovation to the space, one of the things that Les is working on in terms of his scanning, and one of the things that connects really nicely with us is the ability to take a game like Last Expedition, which is one of our games, and scan somebody into that game. So because we work with so many musicians and things like that, we have a bunch of really, really heavy hitting musicians that will eventually be coming to our platform. Being able to get them over, scanned in, added to a game so that they can run around and play and things like that is profoundly cool, and that wouldn't be possible without Les providing the some of the basis for that. But yeah, there's just so much to be done in the space, and I think that a little pushback on one of the things that you said, when you talk about metaverse and augmented reality popping off. I don't think metaverse and augmented reality are going to be what we think that they're going to be. Metaverse was one of those things that seemed like a great idea when everyone was locked in their apartment during COVID. It seems like less of a great idea now that you can actually go outside and breathe and see people with, the Mark 1 eyeball. And I mean, I don't know. Have you ever seen somebody wearing an Apple Vision Pro out and about? It's the most absurd thing ever. Dude, it's so strange. It's so we're here in San Francisco, and there's like a couple of those like super hardcore Apple Maxis that'll just be like wandering around doing things, and it's like you've lost it, man. I mean, and maybe this is like the price of innovation and things like that, but I don't see that actually going anywhere anytime soon. But gaming is absolutely going places, and there's as the tool sets get better, okay, because it's easier now to make a game than ever before. Okay, to make a let me refine that a little bit. It is easier for people to make a gaming experience than ever before. It's still really hard to make an actually good game, as we've seen from the absolute avalanche of shit games out there. But it's easier for people to make those experiences, and then being able to integrate those experiences with blockchain to the point where, we really shouldn't have Web 2 and Web 3 gaming. We should just have gaming. And then there's gaming where you have ownership and gaming where you don't. And Web 3 is how you enable gaming with ownership.
I couldn't agree more. Everything. I'm just a big proponent of Web3 gaming and utilizing NFTs and rewarding the people that are actually your community and the gamers. And it just makes so much sense to me. We've had so many people on our podcast talking about gaming. And I always ask this question. I'm going to ask it to you. Why were gamers so reluctant to embrace Web3 gaming and NFTs at the beginning? It seems like that's obviously
it's super
increasing.
simple. It
Talk to
sucked.
me.
It sucked. It was a terrible freaking experience. It's an absolutely awful experience because, like I, as you mentioned earlier, I've been here for a while. Okay. I've been in crypto now for over a decade. Okay. And I personally believe that crypto years are like dog years. Okay. So one year equals 7 real world years. So I've been in crypto for 70 years now. Let's just put it that way.
You look good.
And I know, right? I know. I didn't have this white streak when I started a couple years ago. I didn't have the beard either. It was a terrible thing, and I had hair, but whatever, different story. Um, so I've been here for a while, and I've seen the ICO days, okay, where everyone and his brother would put out a white paper. People would yeet Ethereum into a contract. They'd get some random crappy token, and people would be like, "I'm going to build the future of whatever," and then fast forward 2 years, half a market cycle, right? And it would have completely collapsed, and all of those projects would have vanished, and all of those, founders and whatnot would have crawled under rocks, and trying not to be seen with their ill-gotten gains, right? And that's sort of the way that things were done in the ICO days. There are a handful of projects, a very small handful of projects that have persisted through that and that have been actually building this entire time. Gaming NFTs was no different. You had all kinds of people saying, "I'm going to make a game. This is my idea." I hired somebody off Fiverr to make some art. They've made this thing, and now I'm going to sell NFTs. And then, eventually you get to the point where the rubber meets the road, and you have to say, it's maybe harder than I thought it was to make a game. And then a lot of times you'll have people, capitulate and just be like, I tried, and then they go away. Okay. And for a gamer, if you're a traditional Web2 gamer, you're not used to that. You're not used to, I mean, of all of the gamers that how many have participated in a beta? Okay, a handful, right?
Yeah,
It's not
many.
everybody. It's not many, right? Okay, now how many have participated in an alpha? Okay, it's going to be a subset of that other number, right? And it's going to be a much smaller number. So like if you have, let's just say charitably speaking, 5% of gamers participate in a beta, okay, 20% of that participate in an alpha. So now we have 1% of gamers. I feel like, Bernie Sanders. If you have 20% of 1%,
that's good.
And you get to this point where Web2 gamers aren't used to playing bullshit broken games. They're not used to pre-alphas. They're not used to early access. Really, Steam with its unveiling of the concept of early access has accelerated this tremendously. But still, Web2 gamers aren't used to playing broken shit, and so Web3 gaming, for the most part, has either been really shitty Flash games that look like they came from 2002 that somebody put a tokenomic structure behind, okay? Completely broken shit that just doesn't work and dies, and a very, very small handful of legitimate actual games that are in the early stages and are continuing to build out. So from a Web2 gaming perspective, like, why would you get involved? Why would you spend more money than you would spend on a loot box or a loot crate and, pick random game from EA to do something speculatively? Now, the flip side of that, though, is that once they do get involved, once they really understand what it actually means, they're like, oh, fuck, this is amazing. I want in on this. And then they become total degens. And I think we're getting to the point where it's becoming easier for people to enter in and join in that regard.
Is there an idealistic vision that you have for Web3 gaming, or is it as simple as just trading and owning digital assets with all the hard time and energy you put into gaming yourself?
Idealistic vision. I do. I would stress that my idealistic vision is very closely tied to my previous work working in foreign aid and disaster relief and stuff like that. I spent some time in Haiti, following the earthquake there. I saw tens of millions of dollars flow into the country, and I saw people dying of starvation with nothing to, no food, no shelter, no nothing. I mean, the entire time I was in Haiti post earthquake, I saw one single UN truck and a bunch of USAID tarps, and that's it. Like there wasn't food, there wasn't large encampments other than the hospital that I was working at where people were helping people. Like it was terrible. And so, for me, the thing that makes the most difference is this question of like, how do we actually have an impact? How do we use this as a way to give people access to resources that they would not otherwise have access to, using the things that they have around them? And this is, gaming, right? If you're in gaming, you guys have each gotten into a game and spent $20 to buy, a thing. Okay, I know this because every single first world gamer has done this. You spend $20 to buy a thing to improve your gaming experience. Okay, now typically speaking, you just give that $20 to, the company. Wouldn't it be cool if you could give that $20 to someone who actually needs $20? And that's kind of, the vision behind it from my personal perspective, and that's why I got involved in the first place.
You kind of answered this question, but I'm curious how, giving it directly, how would you explain the concept of like true ownership to somebody who is only familiar with traditional gaming? Like, how do you even like bring that up to a Web 2 gamer talking about NFTs and true ownerships within Web 3 gaming?
I look at true ownership within Web 3 gaming as a return to gaming's roots. Okay. You said that you're in your 40s, so you know what it's like to go to school with a game in your backpack and swap that game with a friend,
Sure.
right? You bring the cartridge that's got the, Dorito dust in the bottom of it, and because your friend didn't use the nice plastic end cap for your cartridge, and so now you got to go clean it out because you're OCD like that, and it's good times. You remember that, right? But the idea is that at the beginning of gaming, you owned your stuff. Okay, you owned your game, you owned your gaming experience, you owned everything about it. Then gaming became cloud-based, and what we gained in convenience, we lost in ownership and freedom. And think of your favorite cloud-based games that you've played, right? You may have tons and tons of fun playing those games, but at a certain point in time, what happens is a game developer is like, I don't know if I want to support this anymore. And then your game gets cycled down. And all of your effort, all of your progression, all of that is lost. And that's sad, right? And so what we're looking at doing in Web3 is finding ways to say, look, uh, we're gonna take this concept of ownership, and we're going to decentralize the operation of the game to the greatest extent possible. Okay, so for example, with Last Expedition, which everyone can play for free right now, by the way, at lastexpedition.game. Last Expedition is, yeah, sorry, shameless plug.
No, I love it. Get on it, guys. Free Web3 gaming. We got the president of blockchain on here calling it out.
It's play to earn too. So get in there and blow some shit up.
Could you say the name one more time for me?
Last Expedition.
Oh, Last Expedition. I did know that. Yep.
Yeah, Last Expedition is a first-person shooter, PvP, PvE extraction game where you're playing in teams of 4 to, defeat a bunch of people and take artifacts off the planet. Now, you can have a game like that that's super cool, but what most people don't realize is that anytime you're playing Last Expedition, you're actually playing on somebody else's node. So you're not playing on a centralized server. You're playing on an individual person's node that they own and operate and have stocked with creatures so that, the difficulty varies depending on what modules the node operator has installed, in terms of like how tough is it going to be for you to, take on this world. Super fun. Last year, about 9 months ago, AWS East went down. When AWS East goes down, the internet goes down because every single service out there uses something on AWS East. And if it fails to fail over correctly, shit just stops. Um, and when that happened, it's kind of funny because there was this dude. I don't even remember who it was, but he was in our Discord, and he's like, "Well, AWS is down. I bet you can't play your games now. You're centralized." And I'm like, "Okay, well, let's do it." So I actually got on Twitch, and I'm like, let's try it. Okay, there's a chance that this might not work. Let's give it a shot. I want to demonstrate that the degree of decentralization that we have here. So I did. I loaded up the game and I used it to connect to a node operated by a random member of the community. I believe it was Smurfstorm, and I connected to his node, and I played, and of course got absolutely completely destroyed. But I could connect and play and had fun and all of that. And so the idea is in the long run, you want people to have ownership of their in-game assets on playing on infrastructure that's owned by other players so that no matter what happens in the long run, that continues to be operational as long as somebody cares enough to keep it operational. And that's the super important thing for us.
Wow. You just answered a question I had written down, actually. I come from 11 years from the domain name space, which I won't get into. And we're all about redundancy. And my question was to you, which you just answered, was nodes, not just for Gala, but for everyone out there, was it just a vanity play? Yeah. Because, you need redundancy in the tech world, right? I'm in San Francisco also.
Right.
And so I was just curious about that. But you just answered the question perfectly.
I mean, the redundancy thing is very interesting, and I've had this conversation recently. One of the things we've been really bad about is advertising, like letting people know what we've actually done, because people look at us and they're like, "Oh, you started at the same time as Sandbox and Decentraland, so you're a metaverse token," and it's like, no, you've really you missed the mark on that one. So we've been really bad about talking about these things. And lately in the blockchain space, you've got this whole DePIN narrative that has been, starting up, where people have been like, oh, well, let's talk about, DePIN, decentralized primary infrastructure, right? Gala is the absolute daddy of DePIN. We have been around for a long time, and what we have built is the most robust DePIN network out there. And we've solved problems that nobody else has figured out how to solve, in very, very elegant ways. And our infrastructure for the Gala node ecosystem literally runs Web3, and nobody has any idea. And so I think for a lot of people, nodes have been a vanity play. I see a lot of different projects, kind of inspired by us. Some of them even, like, they ripped off our whole website and didn't even bother to change the graphics or text. Like, it's like literally you just copy and pasted all of our shit to your thing, and like, oh, we're selling nodes now. So I think that for some it is a vanity slash scam play, but for us, it's providing the infrastructure that runs freaking Web3, which I think I'm super proud about.
Talk to me a little bit about the Gala nodes. I remember researching them a few years ago, and they've ran up quite a bit from a price perspective. And just how did people get their hands on them initially? Did they put them in like a portal to activate them? Just kind of give me the whole 101 behind what a Gala node is and how people started running them.
Sure. So Gala nodes, back in the beginning, we had this, we were selling these node licenses. Nodes, the idea was for them to support in-game content via IPFS and a DCDN, which they do, as well as eventually to have them serve as components of the network from a chain perspective, which they don't fully do yet. That's coming quite soon. The pricing of the node licenses was one of those bull market things where stuff is kind of going a little bit crazy, and you sort of try to figure out how to adapt to that. And if I could go back and do it again, I think that we would have done things a little bit differently. Is there was no cooldown built into that price, so it was just sort of an always up thing. And then, but once you say like, oh well, this is the thing, and it's not going to go down, then it kind of can't, and so it ends up sort of getting stuck at a rather ridiculous level, in my opinion. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And so people were able to buy the node licenses, run the nodes, receive part of the rewards for doing so. The emission of Gala is based on node operations. So without any nodes, there's no Gala. The burden is you have to have at least 20,000 nodes online, or there is no distribution of Gala for that day. So we've got about 25,000 nodes that are running online right now, all supporting everything of founders nodes, and then probably another 15,000 nodes of various other types out there as well, music nodes, film nodes, things of that nature. They all support the entire infrastructure, and they all support IPFS. So, if you go to Probe Labs and you look at their IPFS DHT report, you can look at the number of servers running Kubo, which is what we run, and the number of Gala nodes in the ecosystem, and you are going to find that those numbers are quite similar. Not exactly exact, because there are a few people running Kubo servers that are not us, but we're the lion's share of that. Which is really cool. It's something we're very proud of. And that's how that works. And very soon they're going to be converted into NFTs, so people will be able to do whatever they would like with them. And transfer them around as they wish. So it should be good times.
Is there a claim that whenever you get rewarded in Gala, I'd imagine, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there a claim, or is it airdropped? How do they get the rewards?
So it comes in as a mint allowance on Gala Chain, and they can then go choose when they would like to mint it. And then when they mint it, it is on Gala Chain. You can use it on Gala Swap. You can buy stuff within the ecosystem with it, or you can, if you want to, bridge it out to Ethereum. We don't have we have centralized exchanges that are in the process of integrating Gala Chain. They have not done so yet, but if you want to, you can bridge it out to Ethereum. There is a bridge fee, primarily because Ethereum sucks, which I was just prior to hopping into this, I was having a conversation in our Discord about. Because people don't understand exactly how much Ethereum sucks. And so, that bridge fee is like, well, I thought Gala Chain was not supposed to have any fees. It's like, dude, you're trying to move it to Ethereum. That's your problem here. It's not the chain that's the problem. But anyway, yeah. So that's how that works.
Yeah. Me and Brian have daily discourse about our hate for Ethereum gas fees.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Brian's taking notes to sell, his wife on why he should buy Gala nodes. And Brian, I'm gonna take those notes from you afterwards also, because I need to sell my wife on it also. But that's truly awesome.
Wait until they become NFTs, because there's a few people out there who have they're very impatient, and they would really just like to sell their node and go on and do other things, and which I fully bless them. Anyway. And so, definitely wait for that, because I think that you'll be able to pick some of those up, and get into the ecosystem. But yeah, Ethereum is ridiculous. And it's especially complex when, people look at bridging fees, and they're used to bridging between, various EVM chains. Okay, so you're used to bridging from Polygon to Ethereum, or from Ethereum to, whatever, and it's all sort of EVM. So, as it's EVM, your single signature applies to multiple wallets, because you're using the same EVM interactions. When you're going between chains completely, it's a very different thing. And what that means is that the minter on Ethereum side is connected to us. Okay. And so we're the ones that pay the mint fee. So when we charge a bridging fee, is when people, go from Gala to Ethereum, we have to do so in a way that means that we don't end up losing our ass as these transactions take place, right? Because if Ethereum gas spikes up to 500 Gwei, we still have to make that bridge happen, regardless of what somebody else may or may not have done. So we have our bridge fees set in such a way that they're dynamic and respond to Ethereum's prices, but also the price calculations are based on Ethereum, and there's a moving average component and with the price of Gala and things like that. So we've got some people who, because the price of Gala has run up in a few days and it's like a 3-day moving average, people are like, these bridge fees are just too much. This is ridiculous. And it's like, guys, there's multiple moving variables here. Well, yeah, but Ethereum doesn't charge this much. Like, no, it really does. And here's the math, but it's fun. It's good times.
Well, Jason, everyone we interview in gaming, they love it because, well, I'm not sure, but I guess because gaming is bigger than movies, music, and films combined, which funny enough, Gala is doing music, movies, and film. So you must have like the best job in the world, I feel. Is there anything upcoming? Is there anything upcoming that you're excited about in Gala that you can leak to us? Or is there something new happening?
That I
or
can
games?
link to you. There's so much going on, guys. It's like,
I imagine,
it's ridiculous. It's like I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 meetings today.
Damn.
That are, no, this is an everyday thing. And, a lot of these things have to do with, we're doing a big hackathon at GDC. I assume you guys are both going to be at GDC. Yeah.
I could be. I'm in San Francisco.
Yeah. Joe might be.
Well,
Joe's local.
We'll have to get together. We're having a community event. We'll have to get you to come out to that and hang out a little bit. We're doing a big hackathon at GDC with a partner that is going to be announced within the next few days, hopefully. And there's a significant prize pool for people coming to build on Gala Chain and with us and this big partner. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. We've got some game news coming out here very soon. We've got a bunch of entertainment news. We've got some artists that we're working with that I'm not allowed to talk about. We've got a major hardware partnership I'm not allowed to talk about. I'm looking at the not allowed to talk about wall right now.
Move it. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Move that camera over there.
It's a lot of. I mean, it's a lot of fun, guys. I love what I do. And we've built something that nobody else has managed to build. And it is so profoundly powerful. And people are only now starting to realize, oh shit, this is the actual thing. A lot of people came and they joined because they were looking at it from the gaming perspective, and it was a gaming only thing. But the reality of what we're building is so much more powerful and so much larger. And I think that as people really begin to understand that, it's absolutely going to blow minds.
That's awesome to hear. I love to see Gala just doing so well. You've been around for so long, and I consistently see you hitting the news headlines, and always I honestly feel like every time I'm looking at Web3 news, I'm like, Gala did this, Gala signed this, Gala's launching a new game, they partnershiped with this new creator. So you're obviously doing something right over there, Jason. And
it's fun, man.
Yeah. So I guess just to give a call out, possibly if you want anybody from the audience to find you or be able to connect with Gala Games, we'll obviously put the links below the description. But just if you don't mind anybody, hunting you down,
absolutely.
That would be a lot of fun.
It happens all the time. I can't even go through. I was in an airport the other day, and they're like, oh, "It's you." And then I ended up having to take selfies and stuff like that with oh man, what was his name? I want to say Richard. Hey Richard, if you're seeing this.
Richard.
Yeah, shout out to Richard from that little Mexican place at the bar at SeaTac. But I encourage everybody to join our community, galagames.chat. You can find us on X at @GoGalaGames. You can find me on X at BitbenderBrink. So yeah, come hang out. We need to hop on, play some Voyager together. I'm going to be streaming some of that later on. Get in there, do some cool stuff with Les, get some full body scans so that we can get some people added to games. We'll have some fun.
Yeah, you heard it here first, everyone. Remember, Voyager, take a look. He's going to be streaming it. We have Play to Earn that's free, last expedition. So a lot of things where you can get involved with the Gala ecosystem. And then he also called out, we're big into NFTs. Joe's trying to push me to buy a Gala node. Jason's telling me to wait for the NFTs. So obviously I'm going to listen to the president of the blockchain of Gala Games. But absolutely dig deep into this. It's an absolute stellar project.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, we really appreciate somebody good
behind me. It's. I thought it was Mark. It's not. Or Mark. Oh, that is Mark. It is Mark. Hold on one second. You get. This is you get a 2-for-1 here.
Ooh, all right. I don't know who Mark is, but I'm excited to meet. Oh, wait, Mark is.
This is. Say hello to all the nice people, Mark. This is Mark Skaggs. He's our COO. Mark Skaggs, from a little game that he created called Farmville. And then
we're in royalty of gaming right now.
Also, Command and Conquer Generals, which you know. Red Alert 2.
Oh, yeah?
I remember. So yeah, this is Mark. We're getting ready to kick off some meetings for the day, and he is an absolute stone cold badass. So yeah,
awesome. We would love to talk to Mark next time. Also, not that we don't love you, Jason.
Yeah,
it's okay. I understand. Well, guys, I'm gonna hop off. Thank you so much, and we'll go from there.
All right. Enjoy those 13 meetings.
You know it.
All right. Thank you, Jason.